Testing, test, test, testing, test, testing. Hi everyone. Can everyone hear me? If you can hear me, just leave a comment in the live chat section, and we're just gonna start really soon. Just waiting for a couple more people who said that they'll be joining us, and we'll be starting in maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So before I begin, for my viewers out there right now, so thank you for joining us on HackTube. So this is the first time that we're doing this at Open Source Society, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them away on our live chat, and I'll be sure to reply you if I have time. So we're not going to wait for the rest anymore. So let us begin. So first of all, I'd like to start with an introduction about myself. I'm Jared. I'm a year 3 business and computer science student from NTU. And today I'm invited here to host HackTube. And this session will be about how you can secure internships, how you can make yourself more attractive to your employers, and also how you can basically prepare for your internship and what you can expect from your internship as well, especially for our younger members in Open Source Society. So, just briefly about the internships that I've done so far. I'm interested in analytics as well as in software engineering. So these two are the domains that I have dabbled in. So some companies which I have joined and to do an internship at include Shopee, Grab, PwC, Estee Lauder, and this summer I'll be going to Bank of America to join them for the internship. Right. So the first thing that I would like to talk to you about is why get an internship. So, well, the thing is, internship allows you to have real life job experience. It lets you learn many things hands on. You also get to receive mentorship and also speak to people who are in your field. And it's not just about garnering the job experience, but also being able to speak to the people who are experts in your field. So, for example, when I first started out in analytics, I didn't really know much and what to expect in the industry. And through my internships, I managed to speak to many full-time staff who have been working in the field for many years, and that's where you can really derive all these insights that you really can't just by studying in school, and that is something that is invaluable to me. So I hope you'll be able to find an internship and do that as well. And secondly, it's of course being able to learn hands-on skills. So um, joining an internship gives you the tremendous opportunity to exercise your skill and to exercise your programming and to learn new skills and pick up new things along the way. And of course, the third thing would be that you know you can get a bit of money from your internship as a stipend. So, but that shouldn't, of course, be the main reason why you take an internship in the first place. And perhaps the most important thing would be that um, internships that you take usually act as a springboard for you to take even better internships at more renowned companies in the future. So it's not just to say that, oh, being not being able to find one, especially when you're in year 1 or year 2, not being able to find some a good company that you like to work at, that isn't the end. You can just think of it as a jumping board for you to get on, to be able to secure better internships in the future. So I hope that you can bear this in mind when you're looking for an internship. So now to get to the meat of um, the entire HackTube session. So the first major question is, how do you find an internship? So, if you are a year 1 or year 2 student, chances are finding an internship is a really difficult and tedious process. And I've experienced it myself when I was in year 1. But I would like to share with you a story first before I dive into some tips that I can give you. Um, you might not know that I was actually a pure business student in year 1 before I switched to business and computing. And in year 1, when I was a business student and when I was a freshman, it was really difficult for me to find an internship, especially because I wanted to dive into something that was more technical, um, and analytics, a position. So that didn't really bode well for me. And sending in a lot of applications to many different companies, no one replied me because I was a freshman. And chances are, if you are a year 1 or year 2, you'll experience such a thing as well. So I definitely feel you and I relate to you. And that's why I have gathered some tips from my seniors as well as my peers as well to be able to share with you what you can do, especially if you are a year one or year two student. So, first of all, definitely you have to spam your applications to the various different companies that you have. And of course, secondly, you have to be realistic. I highly doubt that a company like Microsoft or Google will hire you when just because you're a freshman. And chances are you really, really need to prove yourself and to prove that you have already, um, you know, gathered a lot of all this domain knowledge from studying your degree before you can secure these internships. So you need to be realistic. Yeah. And third is also to be strategic. So one of my senior who is now working full time at Google, he started off obviously not at Google. He started off in year one finding a random startup company in Singapore and worked for them for free because he was that motivated to be able to secure something that he thought would definitely help him in the future. So the gist of it is that you cannot be picky and you have to embrace whatever comes in your way, I guess. But that is not to say that all these internships would not be an internship that isn't meaningful. You still be able to learn a lot, especially if you're at a startup, because chances are you'll be able to learn a lot during your internship at a startup, since you as an intern will most probably be tasked to handle many different tasks, and from there you can learn from your peers and you can learn from your full-time team members as well. So the next part is being willing to make compromises. Yeah, like what I've shared, my senior who is now working at Google, he started off interning at a company without pay, and that was something that he thought was really meaningful, and that was something that he still fondly remembers today. So that is something that you can bear in mind when you want to take the first step and then start your internship journey. Right. So before I continue, chances are that you have this question in your head. All these are really generic advice. So what else can I do? Because what if I've already exhausted all these options and no company is getting back to me? What can I do? So the next part is something I would like to share from you, and that is my huge takeaway when I was a pure business student, as I previously shared. It is to network. So networking means that you have to go out there, throw yourself at at people, join career events, join curricular events outside of your normal schoolwork, and network with people, talk to external speakers from other companies, and basically hope to leave a good impression on them so that you can get a a referral from all these HR employers of HR team members who may be there on that day. So where can you find all these kind of networking events? CAO of NTU, I'm not too sure if you're from other schools, but CEO at NTU, they have been doing a really good job of organizing such career events. And you usually will be able to receive notifications about these events through your school email. So just, be on the lookout for these emails. And when you have speakers from external companies who come down to NTU to give talks, or you're invited to join their company events, this is the best time for you to network with the speaker, most probably after the session, and to leave a good impression on them. So that can be something simple like, oh, hey, Miss Tan, I really enjoyed the talk you shared about how Visa, for example, did data analytics in your department. So I'm really interested to find out a bit more about the internships that your company has, whether your team is hiring, and what are you looking out for as a data analytics person, employee of the company. So that also involves things like being able to connect with them on a more personable level and trying to leave a good impression on these people. And sometimes these companies also invite their HR employees to come down to basically speak with you and to network with you as well. And from there, you might be able to get your internship referred to the HR, and they'll take your application from there. Of course, this isn't a foolproof method. Chances are that um, some companies don't think you're a good fit yet. So I would suggest that you continue to work hard. And another part would be not only CAO events, but also other events such as our external TGF hacks organized by Open Source Society. And we regularly invite all these external speakers and to come to our school to give talks and also workshops. These are called our external TGF hacks. And usually after the event, we would encourage our members to network with the speakers because they are really there. And you just need to, muster your courage just one time and then just step forward and just ask them questions like, oh, are you hiring interns at the moment? Or, oh, I'm really interested to join your team. So what are you looking out for that I can improve further so that I can increase my chances of working at your team and your company the next time round. And there were many instances where we had um, all these speakers and HR from these external companies accepting resume right on the spot as well. So, of course, we don't expect all our members to come to our events and holding your resume only for the sole intention of passing it to the speaker thereafter. But that is something that you can consider doing when you go for all these kind of events. And my mantra is that many a time you're just one question away from changing your destiny. So sometimes you just need to be brave and then muster your courage and then go out and speak to new people and then to ask them that, hey, I'm really interested. I would really appreciate it if you could take a look at my resume and then yeah, I really hope that you can do that for me because I'm really interested to work at your company. I'm really interested to intern for you, and I think that I'll be a good asset to your company. Of course, don't err on begging them. Just make sure that you just appear sincere and you make sure that you of course have a skill set. You of course have assets that you can bring to the team and the company, right? So how do you prepare yourself for that? That is something that we'll talk about later. And of course, the next integral part, which I've also learned in business school, is that you should most probably have your LinkedIn presence. So LinkedIn is where most people have a professional profile of themselves. And on LinkedIn, you can list down the previous work experiences that you have, the awards and community service projects that you have embarked in, what kind of other research projects that you have done, and so on and so forth. And although I don't do this, I would think that it would be great if you can, engage your followers. You can, share your thoughts or share about a recent competition that you won. What are your reflections, or that or regarding a topic that you're really interested in, such as say AI. What are your thoughts or what are your reflections on some articles that you've seen online? So you build your professional profile, and then you increase your presence, and these things can help you to maybe have a breakthrough because honestly there are many companies on LinkedIn trying to find uh, interns, trying to find full-time employees as well. It might not be your big brand names like Google or Microsoft, but these events, these companies who might not be that well known, you might have a good chance because they are now taking the first step to reach out to you, and now you just need to say that, hey, you know what, I'm actually interested, find out a bit more about this internship position, and then you can take things from there. So to summarize, first, spam applications. Second, remember to join networking sessions, especially if you're in year one and year two. And third, you should most probably have a LinkedIn profile as well, and to be able to list down things, the things that you have done. And I mean, it's also a good kind of journal for yourself to keep track of where you're headed towards professionally. And yeah, you can increase your presence, and then people might discover your profile, and you just need to follow the steps recommended on LinkedIn to build a complete profile. You have a step-by-step wizard when you first create a new profile, and then you can just try to take things from there, right? Something, just some advice that I would like to leave with you for this section is that do not give up. Um, I got into I got one of my internships after exchanging 23 emails with one of their directors, and on hindsight, I think he was testing whether I really, really wanted the internship or not. And I'm glad I persevered. And um, I just hope that you can ask yourself, if you were put in that position, would you have persevered on? Because maybe getting the internship offer might just be round the corner. And some companies really just do want to test you to see whether, hey, you know what, this guy, um, not too sure whether he's really committed or he's just spamming applications. I'm not too sure whether we should accept him or not. And this is their form of assessment for you as well. It might not be a formal one, but they just want to see whether you are really, really interested and passionate enough to work for them. That despite all these so many different exchanges of emails, will you still persevere? And that is maybe what my director was looking out for. And I'm glad that I didn't give up, or else I wouldn't have landed that internship. So just some words of advice for you. So at this point in time, again, like to invite you to ask me any questions that you have in the live chat section on the right of this video. So if you have anything that you'd like to ask, please ask now, and I can give you some personalized advice if we have time. So yeah, that is an option for you. Okay. Um, oh, there's another way for you to get internships, and this method is getting more popular. And I won't be afraid to share with you that the Bank of America internship, software engineering internship that I've got for this upcoming summer, I I got fast tracked because I won their hackathon. It's called Code to Connect, and so my next piece of advice for you would be to join hackathons, to join these kind of tech related competitions, because many a time these companies, they are looking for people who um, have domain knowledge in the field that they operate in, or they have um, um, yeah, they have like good problem solving skills, or good like team managing skills. And many companies even hold hack to hire hackathons such as DBS, Facebook, and so on. So do keep a lookout for these events. And again, um, NTU email list. NTU does send out emails regularly on how you can join these kind of hackathons, these kind of competitions, and many of these companies, they're also explicit in telling you that, hey, we're organizing this, there is a cash prize and stuff and so on. But yeah, if we really like you, and if you win the top few positions for the competition, they'll be willing to fast track your application for an internship, or even a full time position. So, hello, Phi Tong. Thanks for leaving the first message on the live chat. Feel free to ask any questions if you have. So, like to repeat again, attend as many competitions as you can. Competitions are also a great way for you to pick up new skills as well, for you to, um, you know, um, yeah, increase your programming knowledge, to go out there and then to see how you fare compared to other participants as well. So keep a lookout for emails from NTU. And yeah, that's that. So for the year threes and year fours, you definitely do have a better chance at securing an internship, because after all, you have already picked up you have already gone through many modules in school. But again, all these pieces of advice still apply to you as well, and that is something that you can bear in mind when you are applying for internships. And there are also other things that you can join as well, such as the NTU career fair, although I think it got postponed. Yeah. But yeah, you do keep a lookout on this kind of networking events and career events as well. Okay. So um, again, if any questions, feel free to ask away on the live chat. If not, we'll move on to the next section: how to make yourself more attractive to your future employee. Basically, how do you impress? How do you shine? Which is something that we listed that we're going to talk about today. So again, the first thing would be to attend competitions at hackathons. Show that you actually care about picking up new skills, about problem solving, and not just someone who studies. Show that you actually bother to have the interest and to further your passion in the field that you like to participate, that you like to um, grow professionally into. And from these hackathons, if you place well in the hackathon as well, that is also something that can help you sell yourself better. Like, oh, you have really showed to your employer that hey, you're really better than most of the many other people out there, that you actually bother to join hackathons that pique your interest, and you join things that help you improve on your skill, and that if you win, then that's even better for selling yourself as well. Right. So the next part would be to take part in extracurricular activities. Well, no one wants to hire someone who just studies again. And if you look at your CV, your resume, and it's blank, it only says, "Oh, I've only studied at here and here, so and so." That is not impressive at all. And how can you shine? You can't do that. So you need not join open source society, even though we would encourage you to do so, because here you can network with people inside and outside of school. Just join other extracurricular activities that you feel would help you further your chances of getting an internship. It can be things like high performance computing, can be things like IEEE, or it can be other clubs that are tech related, like business analytics and so on. Join these clubs because here is where you can meet like-minded peers. Here is where you can also get more networking opportunities, more chances for you to interact with people outside of your usual circle. And these also show to your future employer who is looking at your resume that hey, this person isn't just about studies. This person actually cares and has been joining clubs, and this person is genuinely passionate about technology and what he or she does. And you would help yourself and to stand out from the crowd. And that is something that you can bear in mind as well. So, other than CCAs, there are also things such as side projects that you can embark on yourself. So, um, like for myself, I built a shuttle bus app for NTU just for fun. It was more for myself to learn to pick up web programming at the start, but in the end, this was also something that I could list on my resume. That hey, look, I actually bothered to build an app from scratch without having any prior knowledge at all. It might not be the most perfect app, it might not be the best, but hey, I really took it from start to finish and I published it on the App Store and the Play Store. And this is something that you can talk about in your resume. And this just shows that you are genuinely interested and that you are a good learner and that you actually bother to explore other things outside of just studying as well. So again, shameless plug by Open Source Society. We have Hack OSS projects, otherwise known as Hackos. So these are real life projects for you to join us to build something useful for the school, for the community, or just for yourself, where we have group programming that is headed by one of our committee members. And you can try to pick up programming as a team, and then you can also build real life projects and see what you can uh, how you can go from there. And then all these projects are things that you can showcase at the end of of um, of a semester, because a semester is the typical duration for our project. And from there, you can pick up new skills, you can meet new people, and that is something additional that you can write on your resume. So this is something that you can bear in mind as well. Um, I think we'll have Hackos applications open, so do be on the lookout for that. And if not, you can just email us if you're interested to join any Hackos projects, and we'll do our best to help you find something that you like. Okay, so right, just something very small that I would like to advise you on. If you are writing your resume, uh, just show the rule of thumb is just show that you actually have a life outside of NTU. Show that you bother to do other things. And it's not just about tech related things. Show that, oh, you are actually a person who has a life. Like talk about, you can list down briefly that, oh, I'm actually passionate in serving the community, and I actually offer like pro bono work for them, or things like, oh, listing your hobbies, interests in your CV. And right. So for resume, I have a really good tip that I'd like to share with you. Just stay with me while I respond to some of the live chat questions. So, hi person, any advice for technical interviews, coding questions, etc.? So that is something that I'll cover immediately right after this. So hang on tight. Hi, Junjie. Are side personal projects necessary? Well, again, they aren't necessary, but they will really help you to stand out from the crowd. And especially if you aren't having a good success rate finding internships, that is probably something that you can consider, to beautify your resume, to sharpen your skill set, and to help you um, be more attractive to your prospective employer. So I would strongly recommend you to pick up some side projects, and if you have no clue how to start, join us on Hackers, and we'll be able to give you a good direction, and you have people around you who will hopefully motivate you as well. So thank you for your question, Junjie and Person. So hi Nixon, is it okay if I to join a hackathon if you do not have a strong programming knowledge? Your friends and yourself worry that you can't come up with anything during the competition. Right. So for hackathon questions, we just so happen to have a very comprehensive session scheduled next Wednesday at 7 p.m. as well. So be on the lookout for that video. Again, we'll just send the link a couple minutes before 7 p.m. next Wednesday. So Dixon, hang in tight. We'll cover that in detail next Wednesday. And for person, I'll answer your question right now. So, how do you prepare yourself for the technical interview, assuming that um, you are going for a technical position? So, first of all, a disclaimer: there are tons of resources out there for you to prepare for the technical interview. Just do a quick search on Google, cracking the coding interview, and you have a myriad of sources for you to learn from. So, I definitely won't try to say that like I am the superior authority here when it comes to preparing you for technical interviews. But I would just like to point out to you that um, there are many resources out there for you to follow. That's one. It can be things very general, such as oh, um, what kind of questions should I ask the interview if he or she asks me like, oh, do you have any questions for me? So these are some things that these resources out there will help you to go through to cover. And there's no point if I repeat them over here because I'm just trying to give you advice that is from an NTU student that hopefully will be more helpful for you. So first of all, just do a quick Google search. There are tons of resources out there for you to try. And secondly, would be something that's more specific when it comes to um, technical interviews, such as whiteboard interviews and so on. Um, Definitely websites such as HackerRank or like Kaggle. These will help you to be able to hone your programming skills. And for HackerRank, etc., these are platforms which really prepare you well for coding interviews because they come up with very specific questions that have a relatively small scope that can usually be um, tested on you by your interviewer during your coding interview. So I would say that HackerRank is a good place to start. So it can be things such as like, oh, how do you implement this data structure to do this or that, or how do you implement this very simple algorithm to test whether a string is a palindrome or not, and so on. So these are some resources that you can start, and I would really, really highly recommend you go through some of the exercises before you actually attend an interview. And the next part would be so again, just to summarize, this is for really the technical advice that we give you if you're heading for a technical interview. But again, from my personal experience and from my personal observations, many of us engineering students out there, we do need help in preparing ourselves for the interview in terms of dressing, in terms of how you carry yourself, how you communicate, as well as how do you even write a good resume in the first place. So again, I won't undermine the authority here, which is CAO, which is a fantastic resource for you as an NTU student um, to tap on. So I would strongly advise you to head to Google right now, do a Google search, CAO, career advising and coaching. And there, I believe you'll be able to sign up a session with CAO to go through things like, oh, how do you craft your resume? How do you maybe dress well? How do you speak well even? And that is something that is very, very valuable surprisingly, not many engineering students in NTU um, really tap on. So I would really strongly recommend you to do that, and because they'll be able to give you personalized advice. They'll look at your resume and tell you that, hey, this formatting is off. You shouldn't freeze yourself. You shouldn't freeze your achievement like this, and you should tweak your resume in a certain way to help you sell yourself better. So I would strongly recommend you book a session with CAO now, and they can advise you on these kind of things. And yeah, so other than that, of course, when it comes to the actual interview itself, you can also um, think in the perspective of your employer. You should be telling your employer, your prospective employer, what he or she can get from hiring you. So it can be things like, oh, I'm very interested to join your company because I'm really interested in analytics. And I strongly believe that the skills and the knowledge from my previous internship experiences at this company and that company, and like my previous experiences participating in hackathons and winning some of them, is that I really feel that I can bring my skill set and some of my experience for your team. And I genuinely hope that you can consider me, and then I hope that I'll be able to make a contribution to your team, because I feel that it'll be a great learning journey for me. And yeah, so these are some things that you can talk about, and that is the perspective, that is the mindset that I hope you can bring when you attend these interviews. And of course, most importantly, give CEO a ring, book a slot with them, and then ask them, oh, can you review my resume? Can you review how I dress? Or can you review how I present myself, and so on? So yeah, CEO is your best friend. Yep. So last but not least, um, would be this very short section on what you can expect during your internship. So um, well, ask yourself, what kind of expectations would your future employer expect of you as an intern? So think about it. If you are paid $800 a month, what kind of work is expected of you? So that's not to say that um, your work can be sloppy. That's just to say that they don't expect you to recreate Facebook, for example. They don't expect you to create Gmail for them. So you should also know, be realistic in your expectations when you embark on an internship. Go in with an open mindset, but don't go in expecting that, oh, I'll build like some crazy thing from ground up in just 10 weeks interning at some company. Be realistic and just go in with an open mind. And very importantly, another important advice that I would leave with you is that you should vie for personal testimonials from your managers. So you can ask for a testimonial from your manager at the end of your internship, and if he or she is willing, this is a very good way to bolster your profile, to help you have better chances for getting a better internship in the future. So again, this is something that many engineering students like myself, we don't typically do, but this is something that I feel really helps you to stand out from the crowd, especially if um, you're having a bad time, and then you haven't been really successful finding an internship. These are things that help you set apart, that help set you apart from other candidates. And yeah, vie for personal internship, but sorry, vie for a personal testimonial. But of course, you have to show that you deserve the testimonial. You have to show that you have really worked hard during this period of time, and going beyond to do what you were supposed to do, taking initiative, and then trying to be just a helpful intern. And yeah, if you leave a good impression, your manager can may write a testimonial for you, and this is something that you can also add to your resume as well, saying that, oh, have a character reference or a testimonial that your prospective employer can request from you if he or she wants to, and this is a way for you to shine. And right. So another thing would be is that as engineers, it is easy to just be really engrossed with your work and not bother to speak to other people. I mean, in the end, whether another company hires you, whether you get a full-time offer or not, it most probably depends on whether a person really admires your work, a person really trusts you, a person really sees your value, and that is most probably your colleagues and your manager. So bear in mind that when you enter your internship, it is not just about getting the work done. Many a time, internships are a way for your manager and your colleagues to assess you. Um, Looking at your work, they obviously don't expect you to know everything, but um, they want to know, oh, this intern of mine, is he or she independent? Does he or she know when to seek help? Um, and of course whether you leave a good impression or not. So it is important to communicate with your managers, with your colleagues. It's important to network with them, and you don't have to do it in a very superficial way, but just be genuinely interested, like, hey, can I invite you to a cup of coffee like tomorrow during lunch? Can you share with me about the work that you've been doing, because I understand that you've been in the industry for 5 years, 10 years, and this is something that I'm very curious about, and I would really love to get you a cup of coffee, and perhaps you could share with me if you're free. Yeah. So these are the kind of questions that you can ask. So again, many a time your destiny can be changed with just one question. Just need to master the courage and to have the initiative to help you to propel further into the future, and you can just bear that in mind. So, about the expectations of the work of your internship, well, I definitely can't say for sure, but during the internship application process, many a time you can most probably ask HR to about the scope of your internship, and most of the time they'll be happy to ask your manager, oh, hey, what is the thing that you're roughly going to be working on, and this is something that you can also bear in mind as well, and you can just ask them, oh, like ask about the scope, and ask about whether you'll be required to code out something completely from scratch and so on. And the last part is just a small note on launching, on being able to launch your code into production. As an intern, from what I've heard, many, if not most, companies don't really let um, interns launch code into production, because think about it, you're there for 10 weeks maybe. um, you might not be able to appreciate all the security audits, all the code reviews, and so on. So if you're the employer, it might be very risky for you to let your intern do it as well. So sometimes, I would say many a time, you'll be doing things such as maybe creating internal tools for like internal company users. And this was some of my experiences for my internships. And yeah, you most probably wouldn't be launching Facebook, for example, or like recreating Gmail from scratch and so on. So expectations are basically key. Right. So I would like to end this now. So I'll do a quick summary of um, my most useful advice that I feel would help you. And so here it goes. First of all, I'd like to invite you. If you have no idea how to craft your resume, how to dress, how to speak, for example, give CAO a ping. Just do a quick Google search right now, CAO career advising and coaching, and you can book a session with them. And yeah, they'll be more than happy to be able to help you to do that. And next would be taking the next step in terms of your career professionally, would be doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, joining a new side project, or joining hackers, or coming for our external TGF hacks where you can network with more external speakers. Printing your resume when you attend these kind of sessions, and then asking whether the speaker can help you to forward your resume to HR. Take the first step, and I wish you all the best. Hopefully, with this, you have a better idea of where you stand now, and what you need to do to shine. What you need to prepare yourself to be a better candidate. And I do hope that you will be able to find an internship. And yeah, I look forward to you sharing with us on your journey. and you can let us know if you have any other questions in the live chat. So thank you for joining us on our very first HackTube. Let us know in the live chat section if you have any feedback for us. If you have any more questions for us, you can also drop us on the live chat section. Alternatively, you can drop us an email at ntuoss@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer your question. So thank you, and I will remain here for another 10 more minutes. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop it in the live chat. But otherwise, yep, thank you, and thank you for joining us. This is our very first HackTube. Bye.